What's going on there, watch fans? It's Amit Honda, and welcome to my watch video. Today I want to talk about the Patek Philippe 5711 1A-018 that was released earlier this week. Before I get into it though, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Victoria Gamelski, who broke the story for the New York Times. It was a great article. I will include the link to the article in the description box below. This was like the biggest news in the watch industry, that they have released a watch to commemorate the partnership between Patek Philippe and Tiffany and Company. Tiffany and Company, of course, the premier jeweler, has boutiques all over the world. They're known for the Tiffany Blue Box. They're known for jewelry. They're known for diamonds. They're known for giftware. They were Patek Philippe's first U.S. retailer in 1851, and that relationship has been going strong now for 170 years. This watch has a Tiffany blue dial, so it has that Tiffany colored blue dial, which has become so sought after. Rolex uses it on their Oyster Perpetual, and it's done exceedingly well. There are a lot of companies that use that color as well, that sort of shade of blue. But this is probably one of the most relevant, and it's such a smart thing that Patek Philippe did to retire the 5711 reference with such a monumental, historic, and important partnership. Is there any functionalities of this watch that are different from the traditional 5711s? No. I mean, the watch is pretty much exactly the same, but it's all in the details, which makes this watch special, unique, and collectible. You've got the Tiffany blue dial. It's double stamped, meaning that Patek Philippe Geneva is written under the 12 o'clock position, and above the 6 o'clock position, you have Tiffany and Company. So you've got both stamps. Now, it's also historic in the sense that, Tiffany and Company was just acquired by LVMH. LVMH is Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy. Now, they are probably the most powerful luxury group in the world, because not only do they own Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy, they own Hermes, they own Zenith watches, they own Hublot watches, they own Tag Heuer watches, they own Bulgari watches, and they own many other brands as well as fashion brands and spirit brands. What makes this interesting is when you turn the watch over, it has a inscription on the case back, which is an open case back. It's a sapphire crystal case back, and you've got, at the top of the case back, you have 170th anniversary. In the middle, you have, the years of partnership, 1851 to 2021. And underneath that, on the left, you have Tiffany and Company, and on the right, you have Patek Philippe. Now, if you look at the one in 2021, you've got what, people consider the Easter egg, where you have, in the one itself, you have LVMH written, which is very interesting because why would Patek Philippe, why would they put LVMH in there? It's really to commemorate the partnership between them and Tiffany and Company. And LVMH just acquired Tiffany and Company. Now, if you think about it, those who don't know who LVMH are, and when they see LVMH written in the back and they Google search it or whatever, they're going to see what LVMH owns. They own a collection of brands, including a lot of important watch brands. Now, that's kind of, even though those watch brands are not really in direct competition with Patek Philippe, nonetheless, they are in competition because they're watch brands. They're in the same business. So it leads a lot to the imagination that is LVMH going to acquire Patek Philippe? I mean, that is yet to be determined. It makes you wonder what's really happening and why would Patek Philippe do that? And Patek Philippe said, hey, this is our way of giving a nod to LVMH for, good job for acquiring Tiffany and Company, a long-withstanding relationship with Patek Philippe. But it's a new relationship, or maybe it's not. Maybe they've had this in the works for a long, long time. But still, in my mind, why would you draw attention to, the group that acquired Tiffany and Company? Why wouldn't you just make this about Patek Philippe and Tiffany and Company? So yeah, there's all sorts of speculations as to why, and nothing has been confirmed yet. Now, there are 170 pieces produced of this watch that will be exclusively available at the Tiffany & Company boutique, New York, in Beverly Hills, and San Francisco. One of them will be auctioned off and the money will go to a great cause. The olive green dial watches that Patek Philippe announced earlier this year in April at Watches and Wonders, which in everyone's mind was really the end of the 5711 reference, came in two variations, also in stainless steel, one with an olive green dial and one with an olive green dial and a baguette bezel. Now, the olive green dial without diamonds was around 40,000, and the one with baguette diamonds was around 90,000. Those both went for 10 times their retail price at auction, which is just outstanding for a stainless steel watch. Now, since there were only 170 pieces of this particular Tiffany blue dial produced, and one going to auction, which is nothing, I have a feeling that at auction, this could potentially command millions. Anything is possible. I mean, just when you think, how could Patek possibly achieve more milestones than they already have at auction? How could they break records that they've already broken? Believe me, this is the watch that's going to do it, because this is not just leaving the 5711 with a bang. It's nuclear, in my opinion, and very timely if you think about it. Just so you know, LVMH acquired Tiffany & Company for around $15.8 billion earlier this year. So it's just fresh, like it's a new brand for LVMH. They are a family business. You have Mr. Bernard Arnault, who is the majority shareholder. His son basically runs Tiffany & Company worldwide. So you could say that, you know, definitely they're a family business. Also, Patek Philippe is a family-owned business, and Patek Philippe even mentioned that, or were quoted in saying, this kind of thing could only be achieved by a family business, you know? So it just leaves a lot to the imagination. Now, what are my thoughts on the 5711? I've never really been a fan, I'll be honest with you. The 5711 is one of those watches that I get its place in history, and I understand how hot it is, and people want what they can't have, especially the uber wealthy. I don't understand the insane premiums for this watch. It's gone out of control, and I think Patek has done a phenomenal job with marketing and an amazing job with scaling back on production, making this very, very, very hard to get, trickling it in, making sure that only certain people get it. That's another thing. Who's going to get this watch? Which collectors will get with this watch? Which celebrities will get this watch? Which dignitaries or which politicians or which important people are going to get this watch? There's hardly any pieces being produced. So there's a lot going on, even though there's not a lot going on with the functionality, and it's basically a regular 5711. It's not a regular 5711. It's a 5711 for the ages. It's a historic moment in time. It's something that Patek Philippe, LVMH, and Tiffany should all be incredibly proud of to be associated with. It lifts the profile of all those brands, and it makes them all more relevant than they've ever been. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at amitdavehonda@gmail.com or visit my website at www.amitdavehonda.com. Rock on, fly back, and happy holidays.